All right. It is Monday evening. About 9:45 p.m. Hope everybody had a good Monday. And Thanksgiving is in a couple days. A lot of stuff going on about Thanksgiving and families and the election. So I hope everybody has a tolerable holiday in that regard. I'm going to show you a clip here in a moment. Everybody who follows me knows that my brother Falcon and I, we put out several podcast episodes a week. One of those podcast shows that we do each week is called Hawk After Dark. And we have Hawk Droppings is kind of the main one that we're mainly doing interviews on that one. Then we have Coffee with Hawk a couple times a week. It's just kind of a news recap. That one's easy. We have Full Potato Friday that I usually record on the weekends. There's no shortage of potatoes in the news lately. But then we also do one called Hawk After Dark that we've been doing for, it'll be a year next month that we've been doing Hawk After Dark. And that one I used to do kind of a deep dive into a single subject area. And the podcast is called Hawk After Dark. And those podcasts and those subject areas tended to be a bit dark. But for the next 4 years, everything is going to be dark. And so I did something that I've never, excuse me, I have the hiccups. I'm trying to make a TikTok while I have hiccups. I did something I've never done before. I recorded a full podcast episode without any notes, without any specific topic or subject area, because I just wanted to talk to the people who subscribe to that podcast, because I need some direction from our subscribers about what that podcast is going to be going forward. I don't think the prior format for that podcast episode is going to work. And I want your guys' input on what you guys think that weekly podcast should look like going forward. Because right now I'm stuck, man. I'm just stuck. But there are links. There are links in my link tree. Please subscribe to and follow our podcast page and our YouTube page. You can subscribe to both of them for free and get access to a whole ton of stuff. If you want to upgrade later on, that would be awesome. But you don't have to. You can subscribe to our podcast page at hawkpodcasts.com for free. You can subscribe to our YouTube page for free. But that's how I kind of started off the discussion in this week's episode of Hawk After Dark. And here is the first 8 or 9 minutes of that episode that I recorded earlier today. Thanks, everybody. Links in my link tree. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hawk After Dark. Had all my notes here for an episode, but I'm going to scrap those. And I just want to talk to you guys for a while. I'm not doing well today. It's 2 p.m. Monday, November 25th, West Coast time, the Monday before Thanksgiving. And, I had to do a bunch of work this morning, knocked out a whole bunch of stuff, and then took a bit of a lunch break and read the news, that Jack Smith had filed motions to dismiss the two federal indictments against Donald Trump for January 6th and his efforts to overturn the 2020 election, and that Jack Smith, had filed a similar motion to dismiss the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case against Donald Trump. And to be clear, it's not a law that we don't indict or try or imprison sitting presidents. That's not the law. That's a DOJ memo. But in practical terms, it has to be that way. It just does. And so two things have just been landing pretty hard for me over the last hour and a half. He got away with it. He got away with all of it. And that it's like very famously, people say that the United States is a nation of laws, not a nation of men. That's not true anymore. That's not true. It's debatable whether that's been true for more than just today. But it is inarguably not true anymore that this country is a nation of laws. It just is not. And, it's like I've been a licensed practicing trial attorney for almost 26 years. And it's like, I'm just like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? What the fuck? I mean, Donald Trump was indicted on 91 felonies in 4 separate jurisdictions, and he is not going to face accountability for any of them. None. He gets away with all of it again. And the second thing that landed so hard for me is that every single fucking person who voted for him earlier this month knows all of those things about him. They know about the insurrection. We all watched it happen on live television. They know he did that. They know he tried to overturn the 2020 election. They know that his business was found guilty, convicted of 17 felonies in 2022, the first of 5 trials that he lost. They noted he lost 2 trials involving E. Jean Carroll. He was adjudicated to be a rapist. He was found civilly liable for sexual abuse. He owes her almost $90 million. The second and third trials that he lost. The fourth trial that he lost was the one brought by the New York Attorney General Letitia James, finding that he and his 2 adult fail sons liable for a decade's worth of fraud to the tune of $500 million. And they all know that he was convicted on 34 felony counts for trying to improperly influence the 2016 election. Those convictions landed early this past May. And they know that he is a liar. They know that he's a thief. They know that he's a con man. They know that he's a racist, a misogynist, a bigot, a transphobe, that he thinks disabled people should just crawl off into the woods and die so they're not a burden to the rest of us. Every single person who voted for Donald Trump 3.5 weeks ago, knew all of those things about him when they checked his name on their ballot. And I mean, I grew up in the United States. I've always been aware conceptually that this country, and they know that he appointed the 3 Supreme Court justices, or who are the reason why we don't have Roe versus Wade anymore, why women have lost their rights to bodily autonomy, and that there are effectively total bans on abortion in roughly half the states in this country, red states. Either a total outright ban or a 6-week abortion ban, which effectively is an outright ban. And that women and girls are dying. They are dying because they're not able to get the medical care that they need because doctors are afraid that they're going to be prosecuted. They are dying. And they're like, the economy. And it's 2016 all over again. They're saying they're voted for the economy, but it's like all of that is not enough to convince our electorate to vote for an extremely qualified black woman who has worked in all 3 branches of government over the last 30 years, who made specific policy proposals to benefit them, everyday Americans. And knowing all of those things about Donald Trump, our electorate voted for him anyway. Our electorate voted to let him get away with 91 felonies. And so I haven't been okay for the last couple hours. I just haven't been. And, yesterday I had a gig with the band that I play with in San Francisco, and I just set everything aside, yesterday and just really, really tried to enjoy the day and playing music with my friends at a cool fucking bar in the Mission in front of an amazing crowd. And it was such an amazing day off from all of this. And it's like, Saturday I had a couple of podcasts to record. I was going to record this one on Saturday. I was going to record Full Potato Friday on Saturday. I've got my notes. I got my notes for that one over here. And I just couldn't fucking do it, man. I just couldn't do it. And it's like, I don't want to, be recording podcast episodes that are just like nothing but negative whatever. Here are all of the fucking apocalyptic dystopian things that have occurred in the last 4 days. Enjoy.